here in Florida, we have one major natural disaster we have to focus on, and it happens between June and November. We really have to keep an eye out for it, and it's the tropical storms and hurricanes. Now, we're going to deal with today three major questions we have to focus on. How are tropical storms and hurricanes categorized? What is the mathematical relationship between the wind speed and the destructive force of hurricanes? And based on the mathematical model, what would be the destructive force of storms with wind speeds that are not included in the data set that we're given? Now, the data set that you're given is right here. It's got tropical storms, their wind speeds, and the category of all five types of hurricanes and their wind speeds that categorize them as well. Now, this PSF number that you see here is the pounds per square foot of wind pressure. That talks about how much damage we actually deal with and how much damage is caused by these winds and by these types of storms. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and work with a graphing calculator like we have before, and we're going to take this data set here and we're going to put it into our stats, into our stat plots. So the first thing we do is we go in and we're going to edit, and we're going to put in tropical storms as 0 in our first list and the categories here. Then list 2 is going to be the wind speeds, and list 3 is going to be our PSF, or our pounds per square foot of wind pressure. That's calculated by taking the wind speed multiplied by itself, or squaring it, and then multiplying by 0.004. Once we do that, we graph it, and we make sure we zoom into exactly what our data points are, and it's plotted here on a graph for us. After we do this, we kind of take a look, and we've already answered one question. How are tropical storms and hurricanes categorized? That's right. What we've talked about is they're categorized by their wind speed and how much damage they cause. Now, on to the next question here. What is the mathematical relationship between the wind speed and the destructive forces of hurricanes? We notice as we go here, we had to make sure that on our stat plots, we changed something. Our X, our independent variable, is going to be a list 2. We're going to categorize it by a wind speed. And our list 3 is going to be the PSF. It's going to be how much damage was actually caused. So as we look at our graph, as the wind speeds increase, what happens here to the destruction, or the pounds per square foot? It increases. Now, automatically, I already hear some of you guys talking about this, is we can really sit there and determine how much damage is going to be caused by the wind speed alone. Well, we can also use this graph here to predict. Now, in order to predict, we also have to come up with a regression equation. That regression equation is a power regression equation, which we calculated here. It's saying that we take the wind speed, multiply it by itself, or square it, times the 0.004, which is our L3. We can calculate and predict any wind speeds we want. Well, after we've done this, I've already calculated the equation for you, and this is everything you would work on within the graph. This is just me showing you how to do it. I'm going to turn this equation on, and I'm going to graph this. So this is the equation I'm going to follow in order to use it to predict how much damage is going to be caused based off of other wind speeds. So from this, let's take a look and say, okay, how much damage would be caused by something that would be, let's say, 200 miles per hour in wind? Well, again, 200 miles per hour, our wind speed is here. It's our X, or our independent variable, or our X coordinate. So we can say, okay, A, it tells us here, is 0.004 times the wind speed multiplied by the B, which is 2. Well, our PSF here then would be calculated at approximately 160 PSF. So this would be a rather destructive hurricane. Now, as you go through this, you're going to put all this data in, and I have within your worksheet the same steps that I just went through, that I went through before you came in, on how to put this data set in and how to calculate the regression model. And then there's just 7 questions I want you to answer as well. All right? We're going to go through those and test and see how your answers were based on what was given and what you put in. And then we'll go about it as a group and see how close you were. I'll see you guys in a few minutes after you get this done.